Opponents say that the Republicans are better for the nation because they are better in education and lowering taxes. I totally disagree with this. Let me start with education. I agree that education is very important, but the Republicans are not the answer to solve for education. Matter of fact, the Republican Party has taken a hard right turn against education. In a New York Times article by Paul Krugman published March 8, 2012, he points out that, remarkably, this new hostility to education is shared by the social conservative and economic conservative wings of the Republican coalition, now embodied in the person of Rick Santorum and Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney, who is campaigning for the Republican presidential nomination, advised a high school student about college. Quote, "Don't just go to one that has the highest price. Go to one that has a little lower price where you can get a good education, and hopefully you will find that. And don't expect the government to forgive for the debt that you take on." Unquote. Wow, so much for Mitt Romney providing students with financial aid. But it's not just the Republican candidates that are against education, it's the Republican Party as a whole. For example, Pell Grants, which help cover tuition costs for low-income Americans, are in danger in the hands of the Republicans. The House of Republican budget wants to eliminate Pell Grant for more than 1 million students. According to an analyst by the Education Trust that was provided to the Huffington Post, the House of Republican budget will ultimately knock more than 1 million students off the Pell Grant entirely. It goes on to say, Republicans claim that raising financial aid is driving college tuition upward. But this falsehood statement is used by Republicans to justify cutting Pell Grant program by $2 billion. As a result, the increasing cuts by the Republicans to education provide Democrats with an effective means of countering the problem of the underperforming Republican Party, as President Obama demonstrated in a speech on February 27, 2012. We cannot allow higher education to be a luxury in this country. It is an economic imperative that every family in America has to be able to afford. Unquote. Now regarding taxes. My opponents say that we should lower taxes, but which taxes are he talking about? And the only taxes that Republicans are really lowering is the taxes for the rich. Just recently, a Republican tried to stop the payroll tax. And the payroll tax primarily hits the middle class and the working poor. My challenger also mentioned that maybe property taxes are too high, but the reason they are high because of Republicans. Just last month, in an article by Scott Rosenchild on LJWorld.com titled Republican-Democrat Duel Over the Property Tax Relief says, House Democrats continue to push the property tax relief, but got a cold reception from the Republican who controlled the legislature. House approved a $90 million cut in the property tax, but Republicans then reversed the action, saying that they had been tricked into voting to a proposal. But the property tax amendment also killed an underlying bill that Republicans had wanted. Both measures are both back on the tax committee. Another example why Republicans are bad for taxes. The House Representative just approved Republican Congressman Paul Ryan's Path to Prosperity budget resolution on March 29, 2012. This budget plan would last trillions of dollars in the federal spending over the next decade. It claims that it will help close the gap between children of the poor and children of the rich. But Ryan's proposal will affect food stamp and other food assistance programs. It will affect public education, Pell Grants, and Medicaid. So Republicans are lowering taxes for who? The rich. Because no millionaire child will find Ryan's budget will end their hopes of going to college. But plenty of lower class middle child children will. And in the long run, that's bad for the progress, bad for the growth, and that's bad for the country.